everyone, and welcome back to the Wildcard podcast with Gman and Notshort. Where's KT? Well, he is enjoying his time at his conference. During this tournament, me and G are going to be filling his shoes today. We've been filling his shoes throughout this tournament since he left a few days ago. He's taking care of business. We wish him all the best. And first time we've crossed out KT's name on that logo. Pretty special moment there. G, so we got a lot to cover today. We got we're gonna go through, since we unfortunately missed an episode after the Scorched 64 in D1. We're gonna talk about we're gonna just go pod by pod. We're gonna talk the round 1 games in each pod, and then we're gonna hit those round of 32 games. We're going to talk a little D2 as well. At this point of this being released, we aren't going to have the championship field revealed yet, but that will be revealed this coming Friday. It'll be a live YouTube premiere. Looking forward to that. And then we will also preview the Swarm 16, which is very, very juicy. G, your thoughts on the tournament so far in D1, though, through 2 rounds now, and as we... we're looking more towards Super League. A lot of players that are left are either, pretty close to being in there or really trying to make a run. You got a few guys in there that aren't quite in. I think there's only one unranked on unranked game as well. I think almost every other game has a ranked player involved in it. So very interesting Swarm 16, which we'll talk about down the line. But thoughts on the tournament through 2 rounds so far?
Ooh, it's been interesting. I think there's a lot of people who are coming in as contenders, but there's a lot of people on the bubble who are still in, which is going to make that discussion much more lively. But there's also a few people who are on their last-ditch efforts to just try to make the field. We have a good mix here. I'm not sure how this is going to play out in terms of the bubble, but we'll break it all down here. Going to go pod by pod, as Short said. Also going to kind of it's get a little bit of a test to see how this works out. Maybe something we consider in the future, but... I mean, this is the first episode we've had without KT, so that's kind of a interesting thing. We've been through like at least 50 of these episodes so far, and this is the first one without KT. So again, we're gonna truck on without him, but I know KT's watching this, wishing he could be here, and we wish him all the best at his conference. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. Starting with the Scorched 64 and Toxic 32. I mean, we're going pod by pod, so we're opening up with a pod that had a bye. So let's start with that one.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll start with our first game. Number 1 Vapor on a bye in the Bunker region. So we'll start with the 8-9 game. Hockey and Brian. Brian's had an interesting season to this point. He's had a good run last tournament, and he started off this tournament with a win over the rookie in Hockey, who had some ups and downs, but unfortunately his season ends. I'm just gonna pull the records so I have this right. Hockey finished. Brian wins at 4-2, and Hockey will finish his season 3-5, 21-25. He will stick around in D1 in 26. But your thoughts on the win, though, for Brian as he goes on to face Vapor in the Toxic 32?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good win for Brian to have, especially after how last tournament ended, but I think it's kind of unfortunate for Hockey. Again, Hockey was kind of like a last-minute add to the season, but I think based on the circumstances, he did okay. Not the best season, but overall, did pretty solid. I mean, he ends his season with a... need to pull it up here just a second. 3 wins, 3-5. I mean, that's not too bad.
No.
Especially with it being a last-minute jump, but we'll see where Hockey goes from here. I think he could make a jump next season, but for Brian, he moved on to face Vapor in the Toxic 32. Do you want to cover that one since we're going pod by pod real quick?
Yeah, I'll just make note of Hockey season. He beat March. He got his first win in March against DJ, then fell to Ypez. Fell in round 1 to Sanford in T2. T3, he fell to Lane. Fell to Lane around a 32 as he beat Captain. And what was an interesting series, Cap picking 15 for all his starts. I still don't know what he was smoking that day. And then obviously in Jackpot June, he beat Seth and then fell to uh, Pac Johnson. But yeah, so that's hockey season. Those were his 3 wins. We'll see what he can do in 26. Definitely a strong platform built for himself to start his D1 career. We move to, again, Vapor on the bye, and he goes up against Brian. And Brian took game 1, but then after that it was all Vapor. Vapor wins it in 5. He moves on to the Swarm 16. Again, tournament winner already. And talking lately, he's leading the win count by a long shot. He's now, after that win he's at 12-3, 61-33. Just a terrific season from Vapor as far as the numbers are concerned. Ranked 6 entering this tournament, definitely looking to try and push himself up, maybe try and get that number 1 spot in Super League. Still the jury's out on that, of course, but thoughts on the Vapor win against Brian. And Brian, it's interesting because this is a guy who took Ypez 7 as well. It started at one point, so I mean, it's interesting to see what he can do if there's any more to it. He finishes 4-5, 24-27.
Yeah, I mean, a good win for Vapor, kind of carrying the momentum off Tournament 4. A lot of people were discussing Vapor, where he landed in the Super League reveal show last time, being only number 6, despite having 11 wins to that point. I mean, I have my own thought. I had him a little higher than 6 on my personal list, but again, there's a lot of things that go into it, and for Vapor, some of the things kind of fell apart. But yeah, I mean, I think if he just keeps racking up the wins, I think it gets to a point where you really cannot ignore the amount he has. And it's been a phenomenal season, a phenomenal swan song season for Vapor. I mean, this is definitely by far been his best season in his career. And I've been someone who said he's kind of been more of a middle tier player, but he has really been showing out this season and in a very good way. So he moves on to the Swarm 16 for Brian. His season comes to an end. I think the Jackpot June run is definitely his highlight, but I mean, that's going to be such a what if with the nonsense that happened in the regional final of that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's things to build on for Brian, especially as he goes into. It's going to be year 4 for Brian, which is kind of crazy, but
I know.
Yeah, but he's been here for a while. He's kind of one of the people who goes a little under the radar, but we'll see what Brian brings. He's kind of been a staple of D1, even if he's been more of the middle tier of the field.
Yeah, definitely middle tier, and yeah, again, big run from T4, big what if. Obviously, it's been well documented with the DQ there. He will look forward to next year, and hopefully maybe you see something surprising from him. We'll see. But we move to the next pod, back to round 1 again, and we start off with a 4-13 game in Bunker, and that was KT versus Allen. Last year, these two faced off, and we talked about it. Me and KT talked about the last episode of the podcast was how competitive the game was last year. It was a sweep for KT, but it was very, very close, down to the wire in every game. I streamed that one as well, and I streamed this one as well. And Allen got a couple on him, but ultimately KT had the upper hand. He wins at 4-2, and he moves on. Your thoughts on KT getting this win over Allen? Allen definitely, playing it closer. He's a little different from what he was a season ago in that situation against KT. Doesn't have the T5 run he had last year in the cards, and he finishes 1-5, 14-20.
No magic this year for Allen in Tournament 5. We mentioned he was in the relegation conversation coming into this one once again. Unfortunately, the relegation debate kind of fell apart due to the dropouts. So,
it's still something that's not quite confirmed is whether there's going to be a tournament or not.
I don't think there's going to be a tournament. I think we have enough drops where we don't need one. So that is good news for players like Eric Monaco, who will survive his way the D1 once again. But besides that's a bit of a great topic at the moment. But besides that, KT. I mean, again, he's been making it out of the round of 64 for a while now. That's kind of what you need to do sometimes. Although I would like to see a little bit more consistency in the upper half from him. But KT got the job done, knew what he needed to do. Allen, season comes to an end. A disappointing season. Again, I don't know. Allen needs to figure out a way to just kind of not rely on Tournament 5 because that's not really a winning strategy. It worked out last season. This season, it did not. So, I mean, if he wants to look at maybe finding his way into the playoffs at some point, he's going to have to find a little bit more of a full season resume than rather just banking it all on Red in Tournament 5.
Yeah. Yeah, Allen 1-5. His only win was a sweep over a Kev cheer that retired following the game.
Oh my god, yeah. I forgot that was his win.
Yeah, and
wow.
But then he did play Ashley close. Me and Monkey were in the booth for that game, and it was the level of methodical was off the charts for that game against Ashley. And someone who can, make Ashley sweat, a player like that sweat, and give her a run for her money in a round of 32, I recall. It's it's something to look at. But obviously, the one win being against it is what it is. Like, it's like Sanford's Cologne win. It's the same thing. But he moves on. KT
I think it's even worse because that was his only win of the season. Sanford, it wasn't his only win of the season.
And the thing is about that is that his only win, and I think Kev was kind of just over it going in, which was kind of unfortunate. But it is what it is. We move on to the 5-12 game, and it features 5 seed William Brock, who had a T5 to remember to get into Super League in Athens last year, going up against Clay, who definitely would need some move up. Definitely needs a lot going for him in this tournament. And God, this game was just crazy. I was also here for this one, and William Brock, man, I don't understand what was going on. I don't know where his head was. But I mean, he wins 2 games in a row where he makes an AO chain to check, and his last card is a +4. We talked about ALP flex finishes before, but never in my life have I seen someone choose to finish on a +4. And me and Coach Rogers were there, and we were talking about how much of a risk that was for Brock. Luckily for him, Clay didn't come back and throw it back in his face. Like, he was uncontested in both scenarios, and he was able to get a +4 down, but it's just absurd what he did there. But ultimately, karma comes back to bite him, and Clay comes up with the win in 7. He goes on to face KT in the Toxic 32, and Brock, I don't know what was going on with him, but he finishes 3-5, 23-29. He will look to 26 to try and make it back to Super League. And T5, just like Allen for Brock, T5 is not his friend this year. And Clay moves on to face a good buddy in KT. G, your thoughts on this win for Clay? I don't even know about Brock, man. Can't hear you.
Credit to Clay. He's just stuck with it. That's what you got to do sometimes in those situations. I have no idea what Brock was doing in this one. Really, really bizarre. But brought it to 7 and ultimately doesn't get the win here. The underwhelming season from Brock. At 3-5, I was expecting a little more out of him, especially after what he was able to do last season, especially in the back half. But yeah, I don't know. Not quite the same Brock we saw last season, although Brock was kind of under the radar for a majority of the last season, so maybe it kind of was. But Clay, you got to remember, Clay, the last season was a wash, but 2023, he made the finale in this tournament, so he's had success in this tournament in the past, and he needs a good run to make the playoffs. So he went up against KT in the next one. That was an opportunity for him to get a huge win to help his resume, but we'll cover that one now. But that's also a matchup between 2 people who have known each other for a while, KT and Clay. So New Jersey versus New Jersey, and both friends.
Buddies on the Jersey Shore, no doubt. But yeah, that T5 Clay is something that was prominent in 23. Kind of faltered in 24 in that respect, and wasn't able to make it. this year, though, T5 Clay might be for real. Like, KT versus Clay. Um, as of this recording, it was literally yesterday, as a little bit of a reschedule. Supposed to be, I think, like Saturday or Sunday, but Saturday, I believe. But yeah, of course, family stuff for Clay. Wish him the best, but he was able to get the job done against KT in 6. I didn't catch a whole lot of this, unfortunately, because I was busy during the day yesterday. But he gets the job done. KT, I mean, you can only think about where KT's head's at, because he's at this conference, as we mentioned. He's doing a lot of more important things than Uno right now, and he's going to be Bangkok, Thailand is his second home. He's going to be looking forward to Super League. He believes he's pretty much in. Comes in at he finishes the regular season 7-1-5, 43-36, and Clay improves to 6-4, 30-32. But he gets it done in 6. Clay does, and he will go on to face Vapor. G, your thoughts on the win for Clay?
This was a really well played match from Clay, and I mean, he got out ahead early, but KT was able to tie it even, but he had to use a power play in game 4 to do that. But Clay played this one really well, and I think KT saw that, gave credit to him after the game. KT feels confident he's in Super League. I mean, he probably is with where he was in the prior rankings, but this is a big win for Clay. He was not ranked in the prior reveal, so to get this win will definitely at least put him in the top 30, but he wants to make sure he gets into the top 16, of course, because that's where the money's at and that's where the playoffs are. So for him, that's a big win to help, and now he has another big opportunity in the next round where he has Vapor, which is another quad 1 win potentially. So for Clay, big opportunity here. He could get 2 back-to-back quad 1 wins. He already got 1, looking for the second. And it's a land of opportunity for Clay. And I mean, if you can keep this run going, make it to the Final Four finale, I mean, he's in a good spot to possibly make the field as one of the last few spots in.
Yeah, the opportunity of a lifetime for Clay, the only 1 seed. Vapor controls the tournament at this point. A little bit of a spoiler, but only 1 seed to make it. That's a little bit of a spoiler, unfortunately, for me. I just kind of went there. But yeah, it'll be Vapor versus Clay. We will give our predictions coming down the line in this episode, but we're going to move forward. 2 seed background is on the bye. He awaits the winner at this point between Goldie and Cap. Goldie, the rookie, Cap, the legend. Cap, unfortunately, not having as good a season as he would have hoped. Does not have a tournament belt to his name as he did last season. Enters the tournament with just 3 wins. And going up against Goldie, who also at 3 wins, looking to try and just make some noise in the final tournament of the season. And ultimately, it's all Cap for the most part. Cap wins it in 5, moves on to face background an all UUL game, coming up in the Toxic 32, Wales versus Latvia. G, your thoughts on the win for Cap over Goldie? I mean, solid win, trying to make some noise, maybe be that T5 surprise as well. And Goldie ultimately, I mean, had some bright spots, but finishes only just with 3 wins. Just one more win than Hockey did. And she will look forward to 26 to try and build that platform more.
Much needed win for Captain. He had 3 straight round 64 exits coming into this tournament. If he suffered a 4th, that would have been demoralizing. But I mean, Captain's been in a sophomore slump. Gets a big win over Goldie though to break that round of 64 curse. For Goldie, I mean, again, Goldie's a rookie. They come up from D2 last season. I think the level of competition is definitely higher here, so they were definitely adjusting this season. I do think some people blow it out of proportion with how much of a jump it is, but I don't think it's that big of a jump, but it is still a jump. I think the round 64 has definitely become tougher. But I think this is a good learning season for Goldie. I could see them making some noise next season. I think I predicted them make the Super League as one of the few rookies to do it. Unfortunately, that did not come true, but I think Goldie got some valuable insight this season and could be someone to watch out for next season with some more intel going into what will be their sophomore season in D1.
Well, off of Bye Island, it is background. Looking forward to face Captain. And, well, this is an interesting one. Two names that came from UUL. Cap got into D1 before it reached 64 at background. Was the top seed and the top player in D2 last year. Didn't win the championship, but was the top player and has had consistency this season. Hasn't lost a round one game, and this and last tournament was really his breakout, making it past round two. We were calling him the Mr. Consistency, and he added some more on it. He came in with 7 wins, staring down a ticket to Bangkok, and it was all Cap. My apologies to Seth Cole for having this game with no commentators. But honestly, with a captain game, you think maybe he would have been fine. Cap breaks out the brooms. He moves on to the Swarm 16 as a 10 seed. Big upset over background. G, your thoughts on this win for Cap? He really just seems to be coming into his own. 8-1 to start the tournament.
Yeah, Cap has a fire in his eyes, and he is trying to find his way into this field. That's a big win to get over background, who I don't think really needed this loss. Again, background's in the field right now. He's with the bubble shaping up, though. It could be close for him. I'd want to say he still has a decent shot to make it in. He does have a Final Four to his name, but I don't know. He does have the round 32 consistency. He's never lost at the round 64 all season. That is something you gotta note. So that is a good thing to have in his cap. But yeah, this was not the way to end the regular season. 4-0 sweep, Captain moving on. This is kind of what we see out of Captain sometimes. I think he has the most sweeps out of anyone in the league. So yeah, that's just kind of the style he runs. It's not really done well for him most of the season, but again, he's trying to do all the stops here to get the job done, and he makes it into the Storm 16 for the first time this season, which is surprise. Which is surprise. I think it is actually first time. Wait, no.
Leaves. I
Hold
feel
on.
like it. I feel like it might
Hold
be.
on. No, this is like second time because he made the regional finals in tournament 1, March Madness.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
I'm lying.
Right.
It's second round of 16 appearance. But yeah, I'm thinking of someone else who made their first round of 16 of the season. But yeah, Captain, he has to win at this point. It's win or go home.
Yeah.
So
House money.
I think house money in a way, but I think for him it's not house money because he wants to be in that playoffs. So, yeah, we'll see where Captain goes. His style is kind of coming back around in a good way for him, but again, it could blow up at any moment.
So Cap moves on, and we'll talk who faces him in a minute. But we got to go to the next pod. Lane Sanders on the bye, the only 3 seed to be on bye island. Every 1 and 2 seed is on bye with 55 players in this tournament. In the round 1 game, his opponent would be either Yoshi or James Ellison. Ellison, has made strides. He's made improvements to his game. He won out of relegation last year, despite not being the least bit impressive. And me and KT would always talk about it. It was this pump and dump ammo style that would always do him in. He would not be conservative at all with it. And he's gotten some wins, and now he goes up against a somewhat desperate Yoshi, looking to try and push his way up. He's got opportunity in front of him. 5 wins coming in. Just one deep run could really propel you into consideration with how the bubble goes in this tournament. But and for James, it was not quite enough. Yoshi wins it in 6. Beats James. It was interesting that both their numbers next to each other, number 23 versus number 24. I thought that was a fun nugget. But he goes on to face Lane in the Toxic 32. Lane looking to try and find some quality wins. We'll talk about him in a moment. But G, thoughts on the win for Yoshi, and thoughts on Ellison's season, which I think not impressive, but not definitely an improvement. 2-5, 13-25 to finish.
Yeah, I think Ellison's taking baby steps. That's the best way I could put it.
Yeah, that's fair.
This was his best season, which is a little unfortunate because he only got 2 wins. But that was better than last season. So hey, gotta again baby steps. Got to go somewhere. But yeah, I think Yoshi just kind of held control of this game. Ellison again kind of gets disappointed by the losses, but I mean he still sticks with it. He'll be back in D1 next season. But yeah, for Yoshi, it's do or die at this point. He is ranked 28th going into this tournament, so has a little bit of a visible place of where he's at, but he's just got to keep on winning here. But for Ellison, season ends, and we'll see where he goes next season. I would say he's not going to be like a playoff contender or anything, but then again, you just saw Mac Johnson, who was nowhere to be found in the first 2 seasons, win it tournament 3 and make his way into the playoffs. So who knows? Maybe Ellison can turn it around, randomly pop off in a tournament and win that next season, and then we'll be talking about that as the underdog story. But yeah, for now, Ellison done for the year. Yoshi keeps moving on, and he'll be facing Lane in this Toxic 32. We'll see how that one went. Short, back over to you.
Yeah, Toxic 32 between Yoshi and Lane. Lane obviously coming in at 8 wins. He's looking solid, but his strength of schedule not the best, not the strongest resume. Definitely trying to. It's kind of been the conversation all year for Lane, has been trying to find quality wins. It's kind of what we were talking about with Caesar last year. Pulling the quads up just to illustrate this point is that Lane. There it is. Lane 0-3 in quad 1. And he's just looking for those wins, but quad 1 wins are hard to come by. Only Lamas is leading quads. Again, a little bit of spoil, but he's the only one that is leading quads. We'll get to that in a moment, but yeah, like Lane 4-8-4 strength of schedule. That is near the bottom. 56th strength of schedule this season amongst the entire field, including those who have dropped throughout the season. But he goes up against Yoshi, looking to try and push his way in to find some quality wins. You have Vapor. That would be a huge win for him if he can get to that point. Obviously, that's way down in a regional final, but it's something to look at. And but for Lane, not quite enough. Yoshi gets it done in 7, continues on to play cap. He will have home table advantage, and Yoshi now ending Lane's regular season. There's a good shot he can make it, but still, there's a lot to discuss in that respect. But Yoshi continues the fight, gets a 6th win on the season. 6-4, 32-30. Going into the Swarm 16, Lane finishes 8-5, 44 and 43. He plays a lot of games close. So the 8-5 with just one game over 500 in games. But thoughts on the win for Yoshi continues on, and thoughts on Lane's regular season ending. Definitely sweating a little bit. May not be out of it, but he definitely doesn't. I wouldn't think he feels the greatest about where he's at this point.
Yeah. This is the thing about this one, because I was streaming it. Power plays kind of got used up early. Lane used it game 4 to go up 3-1, and then Yoshi used it game 6 to force game 7. This actually had a very peculiar moment in game 7 where Lane had a run to the end, but was 1 card short, and that gave Yoshi a bit of a heart attack. But Yoshi ended up finding a way to get to the end there and survive that one to win and come back from 3-1. Again, Yoshi needed this win desperately. I'm not sure where Lane ends up now. I mean, 8 wins is pretty good, but his strength of schedule is not up there. So we'll see where Lane lands, because he didn't technically add any wins with the bye. But yeah, I don't know. I think Lane, that's kind of one he was wishing to have gotten. But for Yoshi, that's a big one he gets. And now he moves on to face Captain, which is going to be another tough game. That's a tough style to play against. We'll see how Yoshi adjusts to that and where he goes from there. But yeah, this was a really good match. Very tense game 7, and Yoshi's the one who escapes once again. So Yoshi going on a bit of a run to try and get a last ditch effort to make it into Super League for the very first time.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, had that Final Four run last year. Wasn't unfortunately nothing much more than that, and he's looking to try and keep pushing, and he's got to get some more wins on the board. Really does. So that's the bunker. So your bunker region matchups are Vapor versus Clay and Yoshi versus Cap. We'll talk predictions here in a little while, but we're gonna move on to the tunnel region, and in the tunnel region, Gold on the bye is the 1 seed, and G on the bye is the 2 seed. We're gonna start with the 8-9 game, and it's gonna be between Ed and Gone. Gone obviously not playing not playing one of the tournaments, last tournament. Trying to come back strong, try and rekindle some of the energy he had in Auto April. He was in consideration being one of the top rookies, and he's still got a good chance to do that, as he's the last rookie remaining now that background is gone. He's the last rookie that's in consideration, because the rest of them, I mean, we haven't talked about the rest of them, but they're not going to get 7 wins. That's just they're not going to get that many wins to catch him. So it's really up to Gon to be the top rookie, and he's the only he's in consideration. Background's in consideration, Super League, but Gon's still here. He takes on Ed, and well, Ed, he's had some strong games. He had a crazy game against Acosta, who's right in the running as well. And that one I remember me and Seth before. That was a memorable game. Crazy long series. So much so that a scheduled D2 stream after it completely played non-stream before we were even done, which was just insane. But Ed, though, not going to be enough for him, and he was squarely on the bubble with 5 wins, but not looking too hot now. 5-5, 30-31. He loses in 6 to Gon, and Gon is trying to keep pushing his way forward. Goes up against Gold. Gee, your thoughts on the win for Gon?
Yeah, I mean, for Gon with missing 2 tournaments, this is like he needs to make a good run here. Again, he's been a very weird case because he's been in very few tournaments, but in the tournaments he's been in, he has made the most of them. So this is a good start here to get the ranked win over Ziemba. For Ziemba season over, I think it's a good season for Ziemba. He's kind of slowly climbing up the ladder. Broke out in 2024 with that tournament 3 run, and then had a more consistent season in terms of the win count this time. So I would watch out for Ziemba to actually be someone in consideration for maybe making the playoffs next season, which is kind of crazy to say because he was respectfully very bad in 2023. So I would keep an eye out for Ziemba. He's someone who could be a threat next year. But for Gon, he keeps going. He goes up against Gold, and again, we're talking about making the most of the opportunities. That is a huge opportunity for Gon to get another great win. He has so many good wins on his resume that's really helping him. But short for that match already happened. Feel free to walk us through the result on that one.
Yeah, Gone, big opportunity to go up against Gold, who's having really kind of a renaissance season after the real crash out that they had last season. And, up to 8 wins now, coming off the bye, and my goodness, Gone does it again. He beats Gold in 5. Gold will have to anxiously await the decision from the commission on Super League, but Gone gets it done over Gold in 5. Gold finishes their season at 8-1-5, 51-42. Gone improves to 7-2, 37-25. Crazy win for Gone. He keeps it going into the Swarm 16. Again, you just said it, G. You need to he needed more wins to really get his way into the field, and he's going to continue that job. He wins it. And thoughts on Gold season ending a little, regular season ending a little earlier than I think would have expected. Got the silver, and he got back-to-back Final Fours, mind you, is still what's, I think, keeping gold in a really good spot, though, despite the loss.
Yeah, I mean, again, gone another big win, gold. Unfortunate there. It's been a renaissance season for gold, but unfortunately a bit of a whimper to end the regular season. But I think he's got a decent shot to make the field. I mean, he was coming into this. He was, where was he on the list? He was in the top 10. He was number 10. So maybe he's in a decent spot. We'll see where he goes from here. But I like his potential chances. We'll see. But overall, I've been impressed by Gon. He has really come out and shown out so far this season in the times he's been around. So makes it the Swarm 16, and we'll see where he goes from there. And potentially another big opportunity for him in that one. Maybe slight spoilers ahead for anyone who doesn't know, but
yeah, big opportunity.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll move. Like, you're watching this, you already know what happened, but we're moving through. Next game, 4v13. Myth going up against Jenna, and for Jenna, had a great win to start the season against Brock, but since then has been in the woods trying to find a way through, and not a whole lot happening in this one either for Jenna. Myth gets the job done. He's got his eyes on Super League. He gets win number 8 on the year in this one. He moves on to face either Arya or Leah, which we'll talk about in a minute. But for Jenna, G, I know you were high on Jenna going into the season. She came out of the LCQ last year and ran the table to get promotion, but only 1-5, 12-22. Disappointing season for someone who had a lot of momentum going into this season, and just had the win against Brock. A few of the rookies did get those wins, and unfortunately kind of faltered in the end, and another tough out for Jenna here. But thoughts on her going out and Myth getting the win to set up the matchup against either Arya or Leah?
This one made me sad, honestly. I just felt like a lot went wrong for Jenna. Some of it out of her control this season. I'm thankful that she'll be back in D1 next season at least. So not going to be in relegation, even though she was in that picture. But yeah, it's just a lot went wrong. Myth has definitely been on a roll this season, so unfortunately, with the way he plays his style quick, this is going to be a quick match, which I think Jenna is accustomed to, but I think Myth had the edge this time. Myth moves on. Jenna, I'm hoping for a better season next time around, and hopefully a little bit more fortune goes her way, because there was definitely a lot of moments where things just went wrong that were out of her control. I mean, I remember that Vapor game, especially from last tournament, where it was in a good spot, but then just kind of got thrown 8+4s against them, and not really much you could do there. But yeah, Myth moves on, continues his great season, and we'll go to the other match in the Scorched 64 pod here. And it's another one where it's a bit of a unfortunate end.
Yeah. All-female matchup, Arya and Leah, the 5-12 game, and Arya, didn't play last year. That's been the headline every time, and she's had some ups, she's had some downs, and this one was good. So it went up against Leah. 7-game series. Leah's had some moments. Took JT out, which really sent him into a tailspin of a season, which we're going to touch on as we move down this bracket. But it is ultimately Arya prevails in 7, gets win number 5 on the season. She's still playing for her life, trying to, if she wants Super League, she's got to make a deep run at this point. But we'll go up against Myth, who in a 4-5 game, the win differential is huge here. It feels like a big separation for a 4-5, but still, I mean, a competitive game regardless. Arya can fly with them, with the best of them, no doubt. But Arya gets it done in 7 over Leah, sets it up against Myth. Leah falls to 3-5, 22 and 29 on the season, and Arya at this point going to 5-4. I don't know the exact games record since we put the next round on top of it, but yeah. Gee, thoughts on the win for Arya and Leah? unfortunately, her season comes to an end. Had some bright spots, but not quite bright enough.
Unfortunately, the bright spots were at the start of the season. It kind of went a little downhill afterwards. But I think for Leah, they'll look at this as more like a stepping stone because last season they went 0-5. I thought they played okay that last season, but ultimately nothing really worked out. This season, I think some stuff worked out better their way, but I think they were able to show what they were made of. Again, 3-5, it's not great, but I don't think it's bad either. I think it's good for Leah going into next season, and they can build off this. I think they're going to want to break this round of 64 curse though, because that's 3 straight now, and unfortunately, this one got pretty close, but ultimately couldn't quite find the finisher in Game 7. So Arya moves on. Again, Arya, another player who's kind of been not the best season. We're very happy she's back, but also it's just kind of a bit of a de-rusting process. Ultimately, we saw most of it come off in Tournament 4, but again, only at 5-4 at this point. So did need to go on a big run here. We'll see what happened in this Smith Arya game in the Talking 32 in just a second, though.
Yeah, finishing best of the regional final exits last tournament, 5th place. But she goes up against Myth again, like big difference, 5 wins versus 9 wins. Myth, again pushing, or 5 wins versus 8 wins, I should say. Myth looking to try and.
Well, you kind of spoiled it, so.
You didn't have to say it. It just could have been a mistake. Anyway, Myth wins it.
You spoiled it for the 2 people who don't know.
Myth wins it in 7, sends Arya home for the season, and again it gets that 9th win on the season, and he wins it in 7. I mean, a differential, but still very close game. Thoughts on the win for Myth? Arya finishes 5-5, 34 and 36, and Myth is up to 9-4, 49 and 38.
Again, good season from Myth. He's kind of doing his same strategy where he runs it quick, kind of similar to Captain. For Arya, I mean, 5-5 is not bad. I think she was hoping for a little more this season. Won't make it back to Super League, but again, we're happy to have Arya back. She'll be back for 2026. Hopefully find her way maybe into the Super League picture. She was technically in the playoff picture coming into this tournament, but I don't think that the resume is going to line up this time for her to make it in. But I'm still decent comeback season for Arya. Maybe not the heights that she was hoping for, but for Myth, he keeps moving on. Face is gone, and again, gone with a huge opportunity to get another big quad 1 win. He just has a way to find those. So that's also a rematch as well, because Gone is 1-0 on Myth. So Gone maybe in favor of getting the win there. So I have to keep an eye out for that. And if Gone can win that one, I mean, I think he might be smooth sailing into the T2 Championship as a rookie. So we'll have to watch out for that one in that rematch, or the not T2. We actually just recorded the T2 Championship right before this. That's kind of on my mind.
Yeah. For posterity, we did just record we were talking about the T2 Championship. We did just record that. Us and Yoshi. It was kind of we had to do this all back to back today, but Gone looking for a 3rd quad 1 win against Myth. We'll see what he can do. Obviously, also looking for a 6th ranked win. We'll see what if he can get it done against Myth. We'll have those predictions again coming up. We go to the bottom half of the Tunnel region again. My friend to the left here on the bye, and he awaits the winner between Sting and Tago. And for Sting, trying to make something happen. Set again, another case of an up and down season. Comes in 4-4. Not really in the picture, but really trying to push his way into it. Like I said, with how much parity there is, any one T5 deep run could, if you're in like a 4-5 win spot, one deep run could make all the difference for you, or even 3 wins to be honest. But it's deep run. It goes up against Tago, who's, again, had his share of ups and downs. Curse of the sweep. He either sweeps or gets swept most of the time. Again, that kind of felt like it broke against Brad with that crazy 7-game series, which we kind of expected to go 7. 2 legends squaring off, 2 former tournament winners. But going up against Sting, it's Tago. Wins it in 7. Crazy series. Overall, he goes on to face G. your thoughts on the win for Tago? Gets his third. It was been a tough season at this point, but trying to make a T5 run that you're trying to repeat the T5 run he made last year. You're trying to defend the title.
Well, the good news for Tago is the round of 32 matchup will be the same as last season, so we'll see how that one pans out. But yeah, I mean, survived this one against Stingray. That's kind of what he needed. This was really a playoff game. Loser was out, so I think Stingray's season over. It's kind of a I don't know, maybe a downtick, I guess, in terms of the season over. I mean, Stingray was ranked at one point, but ultimately kind of fell out of contention, 4-5. They were hoping for something a little more. But yeah, we'll see what Sting does. I mean, he's kind of fallen into that little middle pack for D1, so not the best spot, but he's still in D1, so that's always good. But yeah, I mean, moving from here, we'll see what Sting does next season, and Tago goes against myself in the Toxic 32.
Yeah, I can sense it. Tago goes up against G, and looking for win number 4. Looking again, he's kind of a bit on house money, if you want, but trying to push to make Super League, the Legends class. Trying to get up with those guys like Brad, KT, Pez, and Tapir, all up there in the wins looking for Super League. He's down there. And he goes up against G, and it ends up being Tago in 6G. And, your thoughts from your perspective, tough end of the season, but, you have your tournament belt, so you're in regardless of this. And I know we talked a bit, like, I know you were gonna give it your all out there on the table no matter what, push to get as many wins as you can. Unfortunately, nothing going for you in this tournament. Your thoughts on the loss to Tago, and also your thoughts on Tago as he moves on.
This was a disappointing one. I wanted to get the run back, but Taco ultimately got the better of me. But yeah, I think majority of the game I was having to finish on a numbers run, which kind of is tough to do at times. But yeah, ultimately didn't pan out. I unfortunately lost to a top deck, which is tragic. But Tago going on a good run here. And so again, with the win over me, that's 2 tournaments in a row where 2 tournament 5s in a row where BB's in the round of 32. So maybe a good sign for him to make a run, but we'll see. That's what he needs. I think this is the first time he's made the round 16 all season. So gets a season best, but he's going to need more than that if he wants to make the D2 championship for the second year in a row.
Or
not that Super League. I keep saying D2 Super League, not Super
League. We spent 2 hours talking about D2, and we're spending 2 hours talking about D1 and a little bit of D2, but it's gonna be really fun to talk D2 in a minute and not spoil the entire thing. So Taga moves on, and we'll talk his opponent in a moment because we got to break down this bottom half, or the rest of this bottom half. And next up is another tournament winner, in Nick, taking on the 24 D2 champ in Steven, who has just had a horrendous season, to be honest. Has not found any answers for this D2 competition, and it just seems like he would rather just go back down sometimes. But could he get it? He has had a tough one schedule. He's had I think it's correct. Let me double check. I believe I have this right. Let me sort this. Yeah. Hardest strength of schedule is Steven. The only person to break a 0.7 strength of schedule is Steven. Has not had a game in Quad 2, has not had a game in Quad 4, 3 games in Quad 1, 1 game in Quad 3. Steven, again, it's just a tough schedule for him, a tough break for him. Just sometimes how the bracket master puts you. And unfortunately for him, he wasn't going to get a Quad 1 win against Nick. 4-0. Nick breaks out the brooms. He continues his push, the March champ for Super League. Gets win number 8. Win number 9, I should say. But G, your thoughts? A disappointing end to Steven's disappointing season, but he's just had tough draw after tough draw, and he might be saved by the fact that relegation tournament may not happen. He may get another chance, but he'll have to fight his way up. He might have a quad 1-esque player again come next year in T1, but just a terrible season for someone we really thought would at least get a few wins on the board. It's just crazy to see someone who, with a champion who, mind you, had to win 2 games against the top player in D2 last year. Only to falter like this. Thoughts on the loss from Steven and the win for Nick? He keeps trucking.
I've heard things that he might just outright just drop down. So that would suck. But yeah, I don't know. This has been a very rough season for Steven. Just not a lot going right. He's had some issues before, and we saw in D2, but didn't really see in the championship. But here it's kind of been fully exposed. Does have a bit of a composure problem, but not great. I think he was kind of just felt out of it in this one. Nick just kind of cruised by. But yeah, Nick getting another win, that helps. He's trying to find his way into the top spot for the T2 championship, no, the Super League. I need to get out of it. Super. You gotta get a counter on that one. Super League D2. Yeah. I watched so much.
Red
D2.
leather, yellow leather.
Super
Red
League.
leather, yellow leather.
Yeah. But yeah, Nick trying to get the top spot into Super League. And the win helps there. So moves into the Toxic 32, and then we'll cover this next matchup here for the opponent.
Yeah, next one up is 6'11" Andy and Drip. Drip, has shown flashes, but I feel like this is a point we're gonna touch on every time. The man owns a restaurant. He works 70 hours a week. He has got bigger fish to fry, no doubt about it. So I can't. You wonder where his head's at or what's going on around him during the game, from game to game. He has the potential to show out when his head's right. He goes up against Andy, who's also pushing for Super League, having a great season. Respect, had a kind of middle ground season last year. Comes in with 6 wins, looking to try and make a big time run to cap the season. And he starts it off with a win against Drip. Wins it in 6. Will set up a game against the March champ Nick, but Andy moves on and gets win number 6, and Drip finishes off at 3-5, 18 and 29. G, your thoughts on this win for Andy?
Yeah, no, good win for Andy. Drip. I mean, I think at the start of the season, I definitely had some critiques, but again, you got to consider the fact that he does work a lot, so this obviously can't be like a priority, and I don't think it should be a priority for the most part, unless it's But for Drip, I think a little bit of a downtick in terms of last season, but I mean, unfortunately, with all the stuff going on, it's kind of expected. 3-5, but. I think the fact that he makes time for this is pretty cool. And for Andy, really good season for them as they now move up to their 6th win with that one. So, I mean, Andy's having a really good season. And for Drip, unfortunate end, but it is where it is. Bigger priorities, and again, if you're in the California area, he could hook you up with some food at his restaurant. We had Sanford actually go at some point during the season, so he's been to his restaurant. But make sure you go support that. I don't remember what the name of the restaurant is though.
I didn't either.
But make sure if you're in the California area and you're interested in that, probably let us know. We could give him some free promotion.
Yeah, no doubt. Tough season for Drip, but again, bigger fish to fry. We'll see what he can do next year. See if some things, maybe his schedule freeing up a little bit. He's trying to get the place off the ground. We'll see what happens. But he finishes 3-5. Sets up the game 3 versus 6. Nick versus Andy, and Nick, I mean, it's similar situation to UG. He's locked in. He's won a tournament, so wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if he lost, but he'd still like it for the resume. And he goes up against Andy, and Andy came to play. He wins it in 5, sets up the game against Tago, another 6-10 game in the Swarm 16. tough end for Nick, but again, I mean, he's locked in. He's 9. He finishes 9-4, 52-31. There's only 3 players at this point with 9 wins. But who knows what could happen? There's still some players in the mix that could join that club. Your thoughts on Nick's regular season and Andy punching ticket to the Swarm 16 against Tago?
I mean, that's a huge win for Andy. I think this puts him in a great spot to make the field. For Nick, that's probably not the way they wanted to go out, but again, they have the March win, so they are locked in. But Andy Tago is going to be interesting. Tago still fighting for his season. Andy, I think, with that win, puts him in a very good spot to make it in. But yeah, I saw this matchup. Andy played this one really well. Nick really just didn't really have any answers for them. So again, I'm not sure what else Nick would be able to do, but Andy really played that matchup great. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Andy can do the rest of this tournament. This round of 16, though, has been a bit of a problem for them. So we'll see if they can finally break through and get past Tago and make their first regional final. But that is going to be something to note as we head into that one.
Andy 7-4, 35-31. Your Tunnel Region semifinals are Myth versus Gone and Andy versus Tago. Both will actually the regional final will be decided on the same day. I'm going to be trying to get this released on the day we recorded it. So if you're watching this on the day it was recorded, that's coming up tomorrow, 3 p.m., 10 p.m. Those Myth Gone at 3, Andy Tago at 10. We'll have the first regional final set by the end of Wednesday. We move forward to the Zombie region now. Your 2 buys are Toaster Guy and Mac Johnson. And we start with the 8-9, of course. And it's Ghost going up against Sean Ard. And, Ghost, Super League last year, not having the season he would have liked. Still in a good spot to try and push his way in from the bubble. And for Ard, not the greatest either, but definitely, I mean, he's had some bright spots. Had the run to the regional finals in T3, but fell out in round 1 again in T4, and comes in with 3 wins, and he's looking for a 4th, maybe a 5th. We'll see what happens there. And what happened there is that Ard took it to the fastest in the West. He sweeps him, breaks out the brooms against Ghosts, and just, I think if I'm correct, that was a 0.6 on the CSM, which is the highest we've seen in D1. And I don't. It
was up there, yeah.
Was it higher than Pikachu over Noah? I feel like it might have been.
I have the list right here. I just need to pull it up.
Yeah, because I know Pikachu over Noah was like a 0.6 something, and it was the highest in the league at the time. It was the highest in D2. I think it's still standing, but I think this one beat it if I remember right.
This be 0.662.
Yeah,
0.6622. That was the highest one.
Yeah, that is just absurd, man. Yeah. So, I mean, nothing more to say, than Ard had the hands. I mean, the numbers don't lie. He goes up against Toast now in the next round, which we'll talk about in a second. But I mean, great. I mean, Ard, he has the respect for all from his opposition for the most part. He said himself, I'm pretty sure he hated to have to do that to Ghost, but that's just somehow sometimes how the cookie crumbles. And we talk about all the strategies in the game here in MRE, but ultimately the cards can sometimes really dictate what happens.
Yeah, Ard drew 2 cards that entire game. 2.
Self-draw?
That's it. And 2, they were both self-draws, because Ghost didn't get a single +2 or +4.
I didn't catch that number.
Yeah, Ghost got 6 ammo cards. None of them were +2s or +4s either. So
yeah, that's the metrics.
I don't really got much to say on the quality of the game. It was poor because of what happened. But Ard's gonna always take those wins when you can get them, and he moves on. For Ghost, it's unfortunate to say the least. Because I mean, yeah, with 4-5 record, he's probably done, but not the way you want to go out. It is what
No.
it is. Sometimes you just kind of get Omega hosed, and yeah, I don't really got much to say on this one. This was just like a very lopsided game in the cards.
Just how it goes sometimes, and he will go up against Toaster Guy, top seed, in the next round. So goes up against the top seed, or does, and Toast, we coming in, had a solid season, made Super League last year. This record, yep, there he is. Comes in with 8 wins off the bye, looking to try in, or 9 wins, looking to, try and make one last push. He's up there in the win count, so he's pretty solid for his resume. And he goes up against Ard, who bit of house money on his side. I don't know if he necessarily looking for Super League. He's got a lot to do if he wants to get there. And my goodness, Sean Ard keeps it going. He wins it in 6, moves on to the Swarm 16, and he's on fire. He's really in that good mentality, good mindset. Obviously, I'll make the note of the fact that he's been helping us stay on course while KT's been out at this conference. Got to give him a shout out for that. But he improves to 5-4, dead even at 27 all in games. But he gets it done and he moves on. And he'll just have to see what he can do. He's still got some fight left in him. Could try and make Super League first time.
Yeah, well, after the game, Ard also called himself 2009 KFB, which is Kyle F. and Bush. So, not really sure what he's going with that. It's another one of his characters, which has had very mixed results. So that might be something to watch out for. But yeah, big win for Ard, probably his biggest win of the season over Toasty. And yeah, I mean, he's gonna need another deep run if he wants to maybe find his way into Super League. He's never made the field before, but anything can happen. I mean, a win here is big, but getting back to the regional finals to help. I think he's really gunning for the Final Four.
Yeah.
That could be something that finds his way in. And I mean, with this bubble being tight, anything could really help with a deep run. So, good for Toasty. I think he's in the Super League field. He has the win quality. He has the win amount to help him out. The win quality is a little bit all over the place, but I think it's enough. But I don't think that's the way he wanted to end the regular season, especially with that loss. But played that pretty solidly, but ultimately Ard's the one who comes out on top. And now Ard will face Swarm 16 against the person who won the other pod.
Yeah, on the other pod, we'll break that down. We start with the 4-13 game between Abion and Zach. Abion looking to try and make it back as well to Super League. Has quite a bit of work to do. But I mean, he comes in with 5 wins. Comes in with 6. Yeah. Comes in with 6 wins. So he's in good position in the final tournament. He goes up against Zach, who, I mean, beat Brad in T1 on the day the API failed us all, which also was the day that Leah beat JT. 2 16 seeds to beat a 1 again in March. But Zach, we were both there for that game in March, G, and you and I were talking about how much Zach has improved his game, how much better he's seemed to look. And it's kind of up to him to kind of show us more of it. Unfortunately for him, hasn't shown much of it outside of that March game, and in this one against Abion, it was Abion. He wins it in 6. Zach sent home, finishes 1-4, 13-17, and some talks about it being it for him. That's not official yet. Might be. Abion moves on to face either Nam or Chamek in what was the ultimate playoff game of the round, which we'll break down next. But G, your thoughts on Abion winning over Zach? Unfortunately for Zach, just one flash in March and nothing much more to show for it, unfortunately.
Okay, so for thoughts here, my first thought is this is crazy, and we are very fortunate that you're streaming, but I just lost power.
Oh,
Um,
wonderful.
so now I am coming through my phone,
I can
but
hear you
we're
good.
gonna keep trucking along. We're gonna keep trucking along. Yeah, I don't know. For Zach, it's just kind of not really what you were hoping for this season. I mean, he had some high hopes, but ultimately didn't really come to fruition there. But it started off pretty good too, but ultimately, like some other players, just kind of fizzled out afterwards. Avion, big win, needed that. He's in that hunt to try to make the Super League field. So um, those wins are going to help, even if it's not like a quad four win. They do want those wins. I think having the quantity at points helps because at some point the quantity's got to at least be factored in. But yeah, unfortunate end for Zach. I think he's going to get bailed out by the whole relegation situation, so he should be back in D1 next season. But overall, not the way Zach wanted to end things. But for Avion, keeps his run alive.
Yeah, if Zach chooses to play next year, that again, that's possible, not official. We move forward to the 5-12 Nam versus Chamek, and really, gee, this was the playoff of all playoff. Both these guys were in Super League last year, but only one of them is going to end up keeping their hopes alive in this game. Both came in at 4 wins, looking to try and or yeah, or no, both came no. Chamek came in at 4. Where's I lose my place in these sheets sometimes. Um, that one. Yeah, no,
I
they
think
both
Don,
come in at 4. They both had 4. Yes,
yeah, Don
they
came in at
both come
four.
in at 4 wins, and only one is going to get a fifth win and keep the hopes alive. And um, terrific game between these two. It's at least on paper. Unfortunately for Chamek, not much going for him. He gets sent home for the year as Nam beats him in a gentleman's sweep in 5, sets up the game against Abion, 24 Super League players fighting for their lives in that game, and he will move on to face Abion. But G, your thoughts on the win for Nam, and unfortunately, tough end to the season for Chamek, just not quite enough for him. Ends 4-5, 25-30.
Yeah, I don't know. For Chomik, it was just kind of a bit of an underwhelming season. I didn't really see a lot out of him that would have been Super League caliber. And again, with him in the field last year, it's kind of a bit of a disappointment with how this one ends up. But Nam getting the better of Chomik in this one. Nam just trying to stay alive. He's been very down all season. So I mean, kind of just keep himself alive, but he's kind of pessimistic about his chances. But he moves into the top 32, still with the shot against Albion, and we'll see what happens with that matchup.
Yeah, and what happens with that matchup 4-5 game? Nam Abian. Abian comes in with 7 wins. Nam with 5. Nam a little bit more to play for than Abian. Abian definitely, he has a shot, but a win against Nam would really help him a ton. Getting out of that 7-win mosh pit, and Nam just trying to get every win he can to try and sneak in to the BKK. And for Nam, it was a win. He wins it in 6, sets up the game against Ard, and Abian finishes his regular season 7-5, 40-32. He will await what the committee decides, but it is definitely a tough end. But I mean, I get the further the Nam goes, I think the better for Abian as well. All right. And we'll just have to see what happens with him. But G, thoughts on the win for Nam? He sets up the game against Ard, and we'll just see what goes on. He definitely has a good shot now.
Yeah, I mean, really good showing here from Nam. For Albion, it's going to be a big question mark. He's kind of one of those players on the bubble, but for Nam, just kind of keeping himself alive. And now we're kind of going into what could be a playoff match for these two players in the Sport 16 with Nam and Ard. Both have kind of had middle of the road seasons, but now with a chance to make the regional finals, big opportunity for both players here. Not necessarily in the quads, but to just make it further into this bracket. But we'll see what happens with that one for Avian. Again, as I mentioned before, we'll have to wait and see. But Nam getting the better of Avian in this one and sets up what could be a really interesting match to follow with a not ranked versus not ranked matchup. That is the
Yeah,
one not ranked
that is the
matchup we
one.
have.
Yeah, that is the one. Yeah. Yeah, so that'll be an interesting one. We'll talk those later. We go to the bottom half of Zombie, and on the bye again is Pac Johnson. He will face the winner between Lamas and Bowtie. And for Lamas, he's got two quad ones. And he's got two quad one wins going into this tournament. So he's definitely got a chance at, you know, coming off the bubble and moving into the BKK. But he's got to start up against Bowtie, who's shown flashes before. Had a T4 run that put him on the bubble last year. Unfortunately, didn't quite get enough there. But Lamas, he's pushing. He's trying to get there, and he has it. Wins his fourth, and takes out Bo in 6. And we'll move on to base Pack. And G, your thoughts on Lamas? Getting this done. He's trying to make a move for Super League, and he's got it. And he's been snake bitten in many points in the year and last year, and he's just really trying to keep the train moving.
He's in a similar spot as he was last season compared to this season going into this tournament. So he's going to start off with that good win. Bowtie, his future is a little bit uncertain at the moment. If he does want to come back, he is in D1, but we're not really sure if he is returning. But Salamis, it was a good showing from him. Again, he knows what he needs to do. Back against the wall, got to get these wins. But faced off against Mac in this Toxic 32 with an opportunity there. So for Lamas, it's just fight to keep on fighting and surviving. And again, he just needs to keep on winning at this point with where he's at.
Yeah, it has to keep on winning. He'll have a big time opportunity against Pac, and that big time opportunity came. And Pac, he's already won a tournament, so he's locked in. That's the 4th tournament winner that we are talking about. Last one to recap for this one, and I did kind of spoil it earlier by saying Vapor was the only 1 seed to move on, and 2 seed. What am I talking about? But he.
Yeah, back to 2 seed. I'm not really sure what you're talking about.
Well. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it. I've already said too much. Lamas wins it though at 6, and he moves on to Swarm 16. 3rd quad 1 win at this point, entering this round, only player with 3 quad 1s. So that's going to account for something for him. Get a couple more wins on the board, and he could be very much in Super League. But we'll see how the rest of the field shakes out. He now sits at 5-4, 30-23. Pac finishes up 7-4, 42-32. The worst record out of the 4 tournament winners. But again, Pac Johnson being the tournament winner is probably the most unexpected tournament win out of any of them. So we'll just have to see what he does. He's in Super League. That's the point. You'll see what goes down. But Lamas moves on. G, your thoughts on Lamas moving on and Pac ending the season a bit earlier than expected. But again, he's locked in.
Big win for Lamas, helps him in his chances for Mag. Again, won tournament 3 and one of the most unprecedented wins we've seen. So he's locked into the Super League. We'll see where he fares there. But the main story is Lamas moving on because he's still alive in the hunt. Once again, he's trying to make it back into Super League for the first time since 2023. Missed last season. Hoping to make it back here this time.
To the next pod, and it's the Tapir pod. Tapir against Eric Monaco is your 3-14 game from Zombie Region, and for Eric, he has not had a win. Eric, he has not had a win, but he's shown flashes of he's been able to compete with quad 1 talent. And he has quad 1 talent against Tapir, and for Tapir, to my chagrin, he does not complete the poetry of T4 as a 4 seed, winning it. Very, very sad. The drives are very disappointing, but he's looking to try and drive it into Super League with a T5 run, and he gets it going strong with a win against Eric. Goes 7. Makes some sweat. Eric Monaco does again, but unfortunately for him, still without a win. 0-5, 8-20. 0-5, 10-20, I should say. And Tapir will move on to face either Peter or Coach Rogers. But G, your thoughts on Tapir as he gets the win, and Eric falling to winless again, but he's shown some level of competition. I think, KT's talked about, I think this new bot's been better for Eric. He's definitely looked more competitive. He's given Ashley a ride. He gave Tapir a ride. We'll just have to see what he can do next year, really.
Yeah, I mean, Monica's a cat with 9 lives when it comes to D1, so he'll probably. I think he's running it back next year with the whole relegation thing. But I mean, again, big one for Tapir. I mean, that was a scare for him because he is not in a position to lose in this round of 64. So able to survive that one, move on. But yeah, I mean, Tapir has been looking pretty. Has looked good for most of his MRE career. Although this season has been a bit of a downtick. He's currently on the outside looking in, so getting all these wins can help. He moved into the Toxic 32 after surviving Monaco, and we'll see who his opponent ended up being with this next one.
Yeah, so he moves on to pace either Peter or Coach, and for Peter, I mean, he's definitely kind of like Gold. Peter didn't have quite as bad a 24 as Gold did, but he was one of the OGs that he's definitely made some strides to try and to have more looks, have more strategies, maybe more than just light switching gangsta. And he's gotten some wins. He's gotten to 4 wins coming into this one, and he goes up against Coach Rogers, who has he's only gotten the 1 win on the season, but I mean, he's had more success in the booth sometimes. Unfortunately, it's been great having him in the commentary department this year, and he's looking to try and just get something done, and he does get it done in a huge way. I just did not expect a sweep of Peter on Jack for Austin Rogers. He sweeps his way into the Toxic 32 against Tapir, and my goodness, it's the last thing I expected, G, to see Rogers sweep. I wouldn't have been shocked if he won, like maybe in 6 or 7, but to see him sweep is just absurd. But really just crappy end for Peter to the season. And 4 and 5, 26 and 27 doesn't look like he'll be in Super League this year, but I mean, I think it's definitely him making some strides to adjust for the level of competition, because it's a lot different from 23 when he had that March title.
Yeah, well, another thing also, Rogers kind of has Anjak's number because he's now 2-0 in lifetime set count, because the last time they played, Tournament 2, 23, which is a long time ago, but Rogers getting the win here in a sweep, which was unexpected. But Rogers played this well, and I mean, he's had some criticism about not being able to do much outside Tournament 2. Kind of proves some of the doubters wrong in this one, and gets the win here in dominating fashion. Second win of the season for Rogers. For Anjak, likely season over, but I mean, again, he's kind of slowly trying to build his way back to where he once was. But we'll see. It's going to take another season for that one. But Rogers, he moves on and maybe could kickstart a potential upset run, dark horse run potentially to find his way into the Super League field. We'll find out.
Yeah, we will find out. And now we move to the Toxic 32 matchup between Tapir and Rogers. And I was here for this one. This was a crazy game. Coach had him on the ropes, man. He was up 3-2. He had some. It split on the low tier. He was trying to go low tier, trying to gamble a little bit. Kept it low to mid tier, and Tapir had some solid game. Coach had some solid game. He went up 3-2, but Tapir won the last 2 in a row. They were really quick games. The longest game, excluding the 11.5-minute game 7, was a 5.5-minute game 1. Tapir winning a game 4 to even it up at 2, and a 59-second win. And ultimately, though, Tapir continues the roll, gets his 8th true win on the season. 8-1-4, 43-33. Coach finishes out 2-5, 20-21. It's tough for Coach. He competed well. He had a shot. The power plays were interesting, to say the least, in this one. But ultimately, though, Tapir gets the job done. He goes up against Lamas, home table advantage in the Storm 16. G, your thoughts on the win for Tapir and Rogers? I mean, he's definitely shown flashes. He could be someone to watch for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I thought this was a really well played match from Rogers. Was it really close, but Tapir once again surviving while on the ropes. Really having a back-to-back panic attacks there, but he plays Lamas now, who is another player who is just trying to find their way into the Super League with a last-ditch run. So is getting the playoff games of a lifetime in this tournament, but he is
Oof.
hanging on. Rogers, not a great season again, but I think this tournament 5 run gives some confidence for next season. Able to get a win outside the tournament too. But I think for Rogers, he's going to be looking to take that next big step, which he hasn't done yet. In his career at some point, and he'll be hoping 26 at the time that happens.
So your zombie semifinals: 5 seed Nam, 9 seed Ard, and 3 seed Tapir against 7 seed Lamas. Our final region, we move to the nuclear region, where your buys are top seed Monkey, which is also number 1 player in Super League Monkey, and number 2 Caesar in the nuclear region, and they await their opponents. We talk 8-9 first, of course, and we start with game between Lara and Seth Cole. And for Lara, there had that strong T2, fell out around 1 in T3, then was able to make the Sweet 16 again last tournament. But looking to try and make one last push. Super League is in his sights. Meanwhile, for Seth, tough season. He's talked about being on the call for a lot of these games, hoping that he could maybe come up with something. Unfortunately for him, the top 10 game has been the only thing to show for it. Again, T2 as well for him. Or no, that's wrong. No, that's right. Yeah, 9th place finish in T2. Again, T2 been the only really bright spot for him. Round 1 exits across the board otherwise, but T3 and T4 placing higher, had a 50th finish in T1, top 40 in the last 2, and unfortunately for him, it would not be anything more than another round 1 exit. A tough loss for him once again. Finishes 2-5, 21 and 27. He loses to Lara in 6, and Lara just keeps the train rolling. The only 8 seed to win over the 9 in this tournament. All the other 9 seeds moved on, but G, your thoughts on Lara moving on, and Seth? I mean, he's shown flashes, but he just has not quite been able to put it together this season. Just a tough end for him.
Yeah, I don't know. Seth has just kind of been up. It's kind of been all over. I mean, he was in contention at one point, but then kind of fell out of it. But I mean, Lara has had such a breakout run, this season, and unfortunately ran through Seth, and unfortunately his season's done. Seth's been doing great work on the stream team, so I think that's his highlight of the season. He's going to actually be doing some
Absolutely.
stuff for the D2 Championship, which we're very excited for.
Yes.
But yeah, unfortunately, most of Seth's success this season was off the table. He'll be hoping for a little bit more on-table success come 2026.
Yeah. He'll move on to face Monkey, and for Monkey, some criticism to the rankings. He may not have the most wins. That goes to Vapor at the moment, but he has such a solid resume going into this one. He remained the number 1 player in the Super League rankings entering this tournament, and I'm just gonna pull his resume up just to illustrate it a little bit. Yeah. Wins over Ard, Toast, Caesar, Ed, ALP, Chamek, and Nick entering this tournament. And his losses aren't bad either. He lost to UG in the final 4 of Auto April, and lost to Brad, who got the silver in Movie May, and now even in Jackpot June, losing to Lamas, who's making a run. So and also beat Nick, a tournament winner. So there's a big reason why that he ends up being the number 1 player, despite not having as many wins as our leader in Vapor, who won that 1 T4. But he's still got to go out and prove it. And up against Lara, and another crazy 7-game thriller. And unfortunately for him, Lara, it was more Lara for him tonight. 7 games, Lara moves on to the Swarm 16, gets Gets 7th win on the season, matches Monkey's record actually 7-4, but not in games, I believe. Yeah, not in games. 37-31. Monkey 44-34 now, 7-5 to finish off his regular season. So despite the resume, I mean, despite the loss, the resume is still strong for Monkey. He could definitely still be like. I think he's gonna fall, but it's the question of how far he's going
I
to
personally think
fall.
he should fall, but
What's that?
I personally think he should fall. But
Oh
go
yeah,
on.
I think he will, but the question is how much will he fall? I think it's going to come down to, you know, what wins come along the rest of the tournament. But your thoughts on that for Monkey and as well the win for Lara moving on.
Yeah, I mean, this was a good series. Monkey was up 3-1, but Lara was able to stay firm with it and survive. They held the power play all the way to the end, which game 6 was a tough hold for them, but they were able to hold on to it and then used it in game 7 to just wrap it up. Monkey used it early on, so actually Monkey used it in a no, Monkey used a defensive power play, which actually ended up initially stopping the finish because Lara never power played for the run, but um. Yeah, I think for Lara, this again, another great win to add for Monkey. I mean, it's been a good season. He'll make Super League. I don't think he should be the #1 player at all. With how the rest of the season has gone, he's had 2 good runs. And he only has 7 wins. Which I don't think in my personal opinion, you could call this a bit of a shoot. I don't personally think that would qualify to be the regular season champion. Especially when you got a guy with 12 wins, even if his win quality is not up there. I mean, there's just a large night and day difference that it's got to factor in at some point, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's been a great season for Monkey. I don't mean to stir from that. He will make it into the Super League for the first time, most likely. But for Lara, it's been a great run, and that's another head-to-head they have now. So Lara is making a good case for themselves to make the field, and really, it's been more of a similar kind of a peak run moment because Lara has 2 round 64 exits, but also makes the regional final, and then this is their 3rd round 16 appearance this season. So Lara's been doing pretty good. They're in a good spot to make the field, and we'll see where they go from here.
Lara moves on. We will talk to his opponent in a minute when we go to the next pod. It's the Yepes pod. Start with the 4-13 game, a battle of legends. It is Yepes and Jesse Turner, and for Turner, I mean, we were there. We were there when it all started. The tailspin started. It was a loss to Leah. He was, he wasn't 100%, not feeling the greatest, feeling a little sick, unfortunately, and the API issues also pushed it later. And since then, it's just been game after game of just tough losses that I mean, some of it within his control, but a lot of it felt like out of his control, unfortunately. And I mean, Yepes, who's trying to push for Super League, continuing to push for Super League, not a good draw at all. And unfortunately, that draw, he didn't get much out of it. Yepes wins it in 6, and I think again with the fact that relegation might not be happening, is JT feels good about that because he finishes 0-5, 8-20. Just remarkable. Like this is worse than the gold crash out. Like, this is like from Super League silver medalist to 0-5 is just absolutely like appalling to see. And I feel for the man because he, we've talked a lot. We had him stream some games, commentate some games. He's a great guy to work with, great guy to talk to, great guy to be around. And it's just unfortunate to see it go down like this for him, and we'll just have to see what 2026 brings for him. But for Yepes, he gets true win 8, 9 wins total, including a DQ. So he's right there in the hunt for it. Feeling good about that win, but just I think the overarching story more so is just how unfortunate it's been for Jesse Turner.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Turner is going to be very thankful that he got bailed out this year because usually 0-5 would be relegation tournament. But yeah, if we're going to have to keep an eye out for whoever finishes runner-up in Super League this season because the trend has not been looking good so far. Because Gold had a terrible season. after finishing runner up in 2023, and then Turner, as you see here, horrible season after 24. So I think that Super League final is going to be very tense for both players because if you lose that one, next season that's a bit of a scare. But yeah, really disappointing stuff from Turner. I'm hoping he could turn it around next season. For Yepes, got the win he needed. He's kind of in that bubble hunt once again. But getting all the wins he can counts. He's up to 8 wins. I think he's in a decent spot, but again, he wants to add to that total when he can. His win colleague is a little all over the place, so gonna need to find the wins when they count.
Yeah, definitely so. And he'll face either Acosta or Radin. And now for that 5-12 game, Radin, different kind of player than what we've seen. Like we saw kind of the immaturity, for lack of a better word, from him last year, and also the fact that the games were just not that competitive, putting games on the blacklist last year. But back half of 24 and this year, he's really he's found a little bit more maturity, found a bit more respect, and he's had his moments, but ultimately only equates to one win so far. Getting out of round 1 in T2. I forgot who the against
Yoshi.
Yoshi, thank you. Yeah, that was a crazy one. But yeah, he gets the win over Yoshi, but hasn't been able to get out since. And now he goes up against Acosta, who, goodness, just has had a run for the ages in T3. Also was able to get out of round 1 in T4. And now he's looking to try and make one final push and again, another guy like Pac Johnson, who has been finishing in round 1 near the bottom of that list, to turning it around and being in contention for Super League. It's a tremendous thing to watch. And goes up against Radin, though, plays it close. Ultimately, he gets it done over Radin in 7. Faces off against Yepes in a huge opportunity for him. G, your thoughts on the win for Acosta? And for Radin, I mean, one win. Again, he's also kind of getting bailed out, but I mean, still a win over Yoshi looks better than some people with one win, I'd say.
I mean, Allen beat Kev. That kind of, it could be worse.
It does not, yeah.
But yeah, this has been an incredible turnaround from Acosta. Again, I did not have this on my radar whatsoever coming into this season, but survived the match against Radin. Radin's been one of the more bizarre characters since E1, but he'll likely run it back next season. We'll see where he goes from there. He's kind of always just kind of been one of those lower card players when it comes to the field, but he'll be running back for year 3 most likely. But Acosta moving on, and Acosta Yepes Toxic 32. Well, that was their first matchup in MRE back in 23 of 2023. That's both each other were their first opponents, so gonna get that one. Yepes won that one 3-2 back then when he had best of 5s, but short what happened in the Toxic 32. This one, their rematch for 2 years in the making.
What happened in Toxic 32? And Yepes again pushing for Super League. Not quite a quad 1, I believe, for Acosta. I don't think this was quad 2, if I remember right. But
yeah, quad 2.
Yeah, quad 2. It was his first quad 2 opportunity. 3 wins in quad 3, 2 wins in quad 4, no wins in quad 1, and the big time opportunity for Acosta, and by golly, it gets it done. And this was the first day that KT was out, or I think it was the first day, wasn't it? Yeah, first day he was out, or second day, and he did with the conference, and I told him, Acosta gonna send you another invoice, man, because he had that he's building that resume for KT as well, and I was like, he's gonna send you another invoice. Like, oh wait, he won, really? And it's just, yeah, it was just surprising to see. Acosta wins it over one-time Super League champ, 7 games, moves on to face Lara, and again, she kind of touched on it. Crazy not to see it on your bingo card for Acosta, and he keeps the roll going, and improves to 6-4. Yepes finishes 8-1-5, 53-36. He's in a good spot, but He's made 3 straight Sweet 16s until this loss, and the other loss was also in the round of 32. So definitely a solid season from Yepes. Or no, that's incorrect. I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong line. Bronze in March, uh, uh, Sweet 16 and T2, and then a couple round 2 exits and another round 2 exit, 3 straight. I apologize on that. But yeah, thoughts on another win for Acosta. He keeps the grind going, and Yepes is gonna have to sit and wait and see what happens.
Yepes was ranked 15th coming into this one, which maybe was I'm not really sure where he stands now. This was definitely a win he wanted, but Acosta, it's a huge win. Yepes is really going to be on this bubble again. I'm not really sure where he lands, but Acosta moving on faces Lara in the Swarm 16. That'll be a good one. Matchup for rank v ranked, of course, but yeah, this might be another what if for Yepes. He lost out on Super League from a Game 7 situation in the round 32 last time. Uh, Gonna be hoping it's not the same situation this time, but yeah, definitely one that he felt got away, and we'll see where he lands in terms of the overall Super League picture.
Oh yeah, definitely gonna be sitting and watching. You move down to the bottom half again. Caesar on the bye, the last bye to talk about here, and we talk about the 7-10. It's between Logan and DJ Curtis. DJ obviously was in Super League last year. Um, you know, by virtue of the fact that Eli kind of fell off the map. Although happy to have him back, of course. Um, we'll see him again in 26 on the table, but he goes up against Logan, who has also had a kind of feast or famine type season. Has had some big wins, but has not been able to put together a strong season to this point. Comes in 4-4, looking to try and crack on a big run. DJ down at just one win coming into this tournament, and he's looking to try and kind of play that house money mentality, maybe do better than what it was in Athens. And he goes up against Logan, and DJ gets it done in 5, moves on to face off against Caesar in a big opportunity. But just a crazy win from DJG, and it's unfortunate for Logan. Was on the bubble, and now he looks pretty much out of it at this point. At finishes 4-5, 27-31. DJ moving on, looking at Caesar, which also it's kind of funny. That's 3 out of the 4 regions with 2v10. Only 1 7 seed moved on, and that was Lamas.
Yeah, again, that's kind of the way that works out sometimes. But Curtis, big win. Got over Logan. Logan, I mean, was kind of identical with Andy to a point, but then 24 kind of went off a little bit, and then unfortunately 25 out in the round 64 again. Unfortunately, Logan likely season over. Curtis, I mean, it's really just kind of a morale boost at this point. He's probably gonna have to win the tournament if he wants to make Super League, but as long as
Absolutely.
he's still in it, he's got a shot.
Yep.
But faced off against Caesar in this Toxic 32. So that was going to be one to watch out for. But I mean, we'll see what happened there as Curtis tries to keep things alive for himself in his season.
Caesar was the quad 4 merchant a season ago, and this year he's definitely more in contention. It hasn't had as many quad 4 games, actually, only 2 of them. And I believe DJ was one of them, actually. And I had 4 quad 3 wins, only 1 quad 1 win, but in 3 opportunities, 2 quad 2 opportunities, 1-1. And so this is a game he needs to have because of and I'll mention who's on the other side of it in a minute, because it's kind of important fact of who he gets. And he goes up against DJ, and DJ, God, crazy, goes and gets another one. 3-4 now, and he wins at 4-3 over Caesar, and Caesar now drops to 7-1-5, 42-39. Gonna be interesting to see what happens with him. He had 2 Sweet 16s to start off, and then a round 1 exit, 4th place in Jackpot June, and now a round 2 exit off the bye, looking to try. Now he's really got to look to see what'll happen around him. But DJ moves on, 10 seed again, moves on to another 10 seed moves on, Swarm 16. And yeah, and none of the 2 seeds, none of them moved on in this round G. Thoughts on that as well as the DJ win?
Two seed curse happening this tournament. Not much luck there, but for Curtis, I mean, the big one for Curtis, I mean, again, he needs to probably win the tournament to make Super League, but this is a big morale boost. Finally get a good win on the board. And this is the first time he made the round 16 all season, so this is going to be a season best. He's probably the player on the most house money at this point. So he's going to be someone dangerous to watch out for, but again, Curtis, again, only player also that currently walks into this Storm 16 with a negative series record, 3-4 on the season. But yeah, Curtis is going to be an interesting one to watch out for. He could be a threat to spoil the party potentially. And for
Yeah,
Caesar,
definitely.
not the loss he wanted. He's in the field right now. I don't know where he'll stand here. He might shift towards the bubble. He might make it, but I'm not sure. He's kind of in that camp with background at the moment. But I'm not really sure. Although at least he didn't get swept. That is something. But we're gonna have to figure out where he lands. But that's not the loss he was hoping for, especially with that being most likely a quad 4 loss.
Most likely. We move down to the next pod, and this pod has huge potential. It's you have 2 legends on the higher seed lines, and it's also the rematch pod. You have Brad versus M, who's a rematch from last year, and Sanford Camaro, which is a rematch from T1, which you know, we all know what happened in T1. So we start with Brad and M. Unfortunately, Emma has some more important things going on in life and had to DQ this one. So Brad moves on, gets a game win on his record, and will face off between either Sanford or Camaro. And you know, we all know what happened in this one. Sanford, you know, that game got scheduled. Camaro didn't show up till much later. Sanford didn't want the DQ win. He plays, loses it in 7. So Sanford's out for blood. Let's put it that way. He's out for revenge, plain and simple. The game gets played, and Sanford, you know, he's trying to make a push for another Super League, and he absolutely gets the job done. Wins it over Camaro in 6, and now sets up a huge game against Brad, which is going to be a playoff game for him. I mean, it was already a playoff game going in, but now it's just big time playoff game, and it's now another battle of legends set up between Brad and Sanford. But end of Camaro's season, G, and I mean, you know, we both covered him at Camaro for his run in D2 last year. It all came late season, and unfortunately for him, just not a whole lot came of it. There's an outside chance he could have done something, but unfortunately for him, not much to do. A DQ win and that win against Sanford, to his record in 5 losses, 14-23 is his final record of 25. And Sanford moves on, gets that get back from the slight logistical headache from T1. But your thoughts on the win for Sanford and the end to Camaro season?
That's a morale booster for Sanford because he got his receipt on that one after the whole issue in Tournament 1. For Camaro, I mean, I feel like he's kind of landing himself in a similar spot to where like Brian would be in terms of the T1 outlook because he's definitely looking to be lower towards the bottom of the pack, but he's doing enough to stay afloat, so he'll be back next season. But definitely some interesting quirks about him that we'll see how they evolve as time goes on. But Sanford with a big win, and then for the Brad, I will quickly touch on this. Unfortunately, DQ, they were doing well for the most part this season. They had a lot of issues last season with that, but this season we're doing pretty well. But unfortunately, luck on the way this time. But again, they're another person that is likely going to benefit off the whole relegation
Yes.
thing. So I'll likely
Yeah,
be back
finishes
once
0
again.
4,
But
7-16. Yeah. Yeah, Emma
yeah,
had some flashes, but not enough to get anything done. So, your last Toxic 32 game is between Brad and Sanford. Battle of Legends. 2 all-time greats at the end of the day. Sanford, I mean, it's what we got. It is a total of 43 series wins all time between the two, and Brad has done it in one last season in Sanford, so that's something to think about. But this we knew this was probably going to go 7, and it absolutely did. Winner gets DJ, and Brad all but ends Sanford's season. Most unlikely to make Super League. Finishes 5-5, 32-32, a dead even record for the season. Another legend falls out early. And meanwhile for Brad, he's another legend that keeps moving up the board. 7-1-4, 41-40. That one being that MDQ win he got in round 1, and he moves on to take on DJ. But thoughts on the win for Brad G and Sanford? Unfortunately, not going to keep the Super League ride going for a 3rd season.
I think the craziest thing about this is Brad was down 3-0 at one point.
That's I knew I was forgetting something. Yeah, reverse sweep. And this is not the first time he's done this either. He did this to JT last year.
Yeah, so Brad found a way to bring this one back and get the job done. Sanford used his power play after game 2 or 3, I think, to go up 3-0. Brad still had his, but I mean, man, this was a long, long fight from Brad to get back there, but found a way to get to the end. Crazy comeback from Brad to get a huge win. Sanford, it's likely going to be the first time he misses Super League, which is going to be unfortunate. Streak will likely end for him there, but for Brad, he keeps going. He is in a good spot to possibly make it back for the 2nd straight season, and he faces Curtis, so that's going to be a trap game. Just got to make sure he gets through that one. Curtis is going to have nothing to lose in that one, so it's going to be interesting to see how everything goes there for both players, because it's a mix of something to lose and nothing to lose. So we'll see how Brad handles that, but a big win for Sanford, especially on pulling the reverse sweep over him, which you don't really see often.
No, you really don't. But that sets up your nuclear region semifinals are between 5-seed Acosta, 8-seed Larahuo, and 3-seed Brad, and 10-seed DJ. That is your recap. We're all caught up now. Only took an hour 45 minutes. Nothing crazy. Before we get into the Swarm 16 and we give our predictions, and we also have CPU predictions. We're both going to make personal predictions. We'll bring in the CPU as well. Shout out to the boss, of course. And but first, we're gonna touch on D2 again. The last time we talked D2 on the podcast with me and KT, it was we were just into the final 4 of just this July. Obviously, the episode came a little later than the final 4 actually happened after the episode came out, but we'll still touch on it briefly, and then G will kind of talk a little championship without revealing all, because that'll save for Friday afternoon. But
of course, make sure to tune in.
Yeah, make sure to tune in. Premiere. But the final 4 again, just as a refresher: Myhel and Pikachu, winners of the defense and jury region respectively, and prosecution versus Gavel was Saiyan and Mark. And we all knew going into this final 4G, we all kind of knew what was coming. We all felt like the rematch was coming. Myhel and Saiyan faced off in Meteorological May Final 4. Myhel won it in 9. And even though we had these 2 great players that are very much in consideration for a championship spot in Mark and Pikachu, it just kind of felt like something was gonna happen, but still close. Myhel defeated Pikachu in 8 in a good series, and Mark up 4-3 if memory serves. Saiyan comes back to win at 5-4 and sets up the finale, the final verdict as we called it this tournament. Myhel and Saiyan, and it was once again another classic.
1v2.
What's that?
It was a 1v2 also in the overall. I don't think it's ever happened.
That was the first time in league history we had the top 2 seeded players play each other, and they were the top 2 in wins. And you would think whoever won that game was probably going to be the top seed in D2 championship, but obviously if Saiyan won it would have been a bit of a discussion, but if Myhel won it was going to be, outright. He'd already won a tournament. So, and 2 tournament belts is, with how it is, he would only be the second person to ever do that, and next to Tapir, who did that before he got his mid-season D1 promotion and won a tournament there too. So the finale was just terrific. It was an absolute classic. A little bit of a comeback from My Hell. Sand went up 4-2. My Hell ultimately came back to win 5-4 again. It cap off a terrific tournament, G, and we kind of talked about it in our meetings post tournament. Is that this is really the best tournament of the season, in terms of not only the competition but also the logistics of it. Only one DQ out of it. Very, very good tournament, all things considered. And it's really proved that all the systems we put in place to make things work better in Division 2 have really come into fruition. But thoughts on this Final Four, as well as the regular season as a whole from your seat as the commissioner.
Great tournament. Final Four, very competitive. We had four of the best in this one. They were all players who were experienced, had at least the season under the belt. Although I guess for two of them, they kind of joined mid-season. But yeah. Overall, it was a great finale. I think the 1-2 overall finale really adds a lot of legitimacy to the seeding. Because when it goes the projected way, that tells you got it right on that. And that it's definitely not like random. There's definitely a lot that goes into it. So to see that is cool. But yeah, the finale was great. There was a weird thing that Cyan tried to make a backdoor deal to change the rules of the game with the power play, which was really bizarre.
We don't need to
Yeah,
go too deep on that.
it didn't happen. It didn't end up happening. It was still best of 9-1 power play, but that didn't play too much of a factor into the outcome. But Maya, what a comeback! Maya really had the fight in the last few games. He was very much down against Bree in the regional finals and found a way to bring that one back. I remember specifically that game, one of the most unbelievable escapes I've seen this season. But My Hill, back-to-back tournament winner, only the second person to ever do it. Spoilers for the Friday, he is the 1 seed. What a shocker, I know. But
I think that's the one thing we could probably give up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
if there was any doubt in your mind that 2 tournament belts doesn't get you number 1 when nobody else has that,
Yeah. But what a season for My Hell. Great stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in the D2 championship, as well as D1 next season, since he does have that promotion spot locked up. But yeah, really good finale, really great tournament. And I think that's just kind of showing where we go from here in terms of a competition standpoint, and hoping that February for 2026, as long as the D2 championship for this season ends up being great from a competitive standpoint as well. I mentioned it in the reveal show. We did not have any sweeps in last year's D2 championship, so hopefully we could have the same for that one this year.
Yeah, terrific season. I think it's, from my perspective, both as a commission member and also a player in the division, I think it's improved immensely, and I think that's all the changes to be made to make things better logistically and also competitively. Doing away with best of 5s. It was fine for the first year, but we needed to bring it to the best of 7s, because that's ultimately what Division 2 is to get the next generation of D1 players up there, get the next class of rookies, and bringing in the best of 11 finale in February has been a tremendous add. The major format, just like we have in T1 and T5, being the best of 13 finales in D1, and bringing more best of 9s into the mix. But ultimately, it was also bringing power plays in. Big time difference. It's definitely made things more competitive, and I think more fun to watch, no doubt about in my mind. But it's props to the entire team. Everyone did great here. We had some bumps along the way, but every league will in its early days. D1's had bumps too. So but it's been a great season, and we will look forward to the postseason. Again, we can't say a whole lot because it hasn't been revealed as of this being public, this podcast. So fortunately, we can't break it down too much. But don't worry, me, G, and Yoshi broke it down plenty inside of 2 hours. You'll see it live premiere on YouTube at 3 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. We move ahead to the we move ahead back to D1 in the Swarm 16 preview, and we're gonna start right back in the bunker region. Start at the top with the top player in wins this season, Vapor, taking on Clay, who just beat out KT to move on and is on big time house money. He is the lowest seed remaining. He's the lowest seeded player remaining, and only 12 seed. The next lowest seed is 10. So that really just illustrates what he's been able to do. So I'm gonna start here with the CPU. Clay falls to Vapor by the CPU's prediction in 8. Again, these are all best of 9, 2 power play with the major format. Clay falls in 8 according to the CPU. And Vapor would move on to the regional final into the explosive 8. We're calling it this tournament. I'm gonna take Vapor in 9. Actually, I think Clay is definitely one to put up a fight. He just beat KT. Again, KT maybe not running full speed with the conference and everything, but I still think that's still a strong win. So I think that's still a good win for him. But I think Vapor's going to get it done. He's made it clear that he wants to push it as far as he can push it, and I think he'll get it done. G, your prediction for this one?
This is a tough one because I mean I feel like Vapor will be the favorite, but Clay has potentially a tournament 5 history backing him with how 23 went. Um, I'm gonna go Vapor in 9. I think this could go either way though. I think Vapor's gonna be really motivated to try and get all the wins he can because he knows that there's got to be a breaking point where he gets to like 15 wins or so, and it's like you gotta stop ignoring it. But I don't know. I think Clay's going to give a good fight. I could see Clay winning this one as well.
Yeah,
If Clay does win this one, we really do need to consider him. He could be considered into the Super League picture, but
absolutely.
I'm going to go with Vapor on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll see what goes down. Vapor. Moving on by everyone's prediction, including the CPU. Next game up, we have the 6 versus 10. Yoshi taking on Cap. CPU going with Cap in 9 in an upset. For me, this is a really tough one. I mean, it's two desperate players putting a room together on the table. It's just going to be a very interesting game. I can also see it going 9. It's going to depend on how well Yoshi can do against Cap's low tier firepower, because that's always been Cap's calling card, has been his 5 and 6 game. It's been so good. But I'm gonna give it to Cap in 9, but I can really see it going either way. It's just a really tough it's a really tough pick, but it's a playoff game for Super League for both. Yoshi slightly better position than Cap, but definitely I think Cap's got it, but it's gonna be damn near close. But I think if Yoshi can get one of those steal one of his low tier calls, then he could maybe steal the series. We'll see. G, your pick.
I think the toughest thing with this one is the way Captain style goes usually makes the result for lopsided games. So I don't see anything better than a 5-2 either side. And I think it's not necessarily an indicator of skill, but more it's just kind of how the style goes. We've seen how the season's gone for Captain. It's kind of a bit of a run right now. I think the style ultimately blows up here and his season runs out in the round of 16. I'm going to say Yoshi wins 5-2. Gets an early jump on the 5-card start and then just runs it from there.
Yeah. All right, we move to the tunnel region. Next game up, 4 seed Myth, 9 seed Gone. This is going to be an interesting one. Another 9 game prediction from the CPU, Gone in 9. For me, it's another tough one. Both vying for it. I mean, Myth won't be in a terrible position should he lose to Gone. Gone definitely wants
He's going
another
down
win.
2-0 though.
What's that?
He'd go down to 0-2 though, Gone, because Gone beat him in the Final Four at 22.
Oh, God, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, but yeah, 0-2 against Gone, so huge head-to-head difference there too. But God, Yeah, these are such great games, so tough to decipher. And but I do think Gon is definitely needing it more. I think he's gonna get it a 9, but it's gonna be it could easily go either way. I'm again coin flipping this one, but I'm gonna go with Gon.
Gone 5-4?
Yeah. Your pick.
All right. For me, I don't have much of a reason to believe Gon can't win this one. He did it once already. I could see him doing it again. He just has a read on this style for Myth and can kind of adjust to what he needs to do for to play it in his advantage. He won at 6-4 in April. I think it's gonna go 5-3 here. Give me Gon in this one to go 2-0 over Myth and get another huge head-to-head,
Wow.
and maybe even just straight up pass Myth because he's beaten him twice.
Wow. All right. Well, next up, 6 seed Andy, 10 seed Tago in this Tunnel Region semifinal. CPU has Andy in 8. Tago's had a great wound here, but I think I'm gonna agree with the CPU. I think Andy in 8. I just think Andy's gonna want this more, and I just don't. Tago could easily win. I can't take it away from him. I'm not saying he sucks. I'm not disrespecting nobody, but I just think I think Andy's going to have the upper hand in this one. It's going to be an interesting one to see for sure. If that actually does maybe go 9, I don't know. But I'll take Andy with the CPU.
I know Tago said he's had a chip on his shoulder with the CPU because I think the CPU has predicted him to lose in all 3 of these matches so far in this tournament. So, um, here's the thing: we're looking at the trends here. Tournament 5 last season popped off, got the win there, and similar characteristic there with the win over me in the round of 32. So I mean, the trend is there potentially for it to happen again. Tago knows he needs to win this one. Andy, I think, has done enough. Maybe. I'm going to give Tago I'm going to give Tago the edge here. This is the first time he's in the round of 16. We don't really know what he's going to bring to the table. Andy has had troubles in this round in the past, so I'm actually going to say Tago wins it in 9 and survives, keeps this run going, and maybe continues his last ditch effort to make it into Super League for the second straight season.
All right. So to the zombie region, 5 seed Nam, 9 seed Sean Ard, and the CPU taking Nam in 9, and this is going to be quite a intriguing one. Nam definitely has a little bit more to lose here. Still needs more to get done. Ard a little bit on that house money, but he's right behind him in wins, so he definitely has just as much of a chance if he can get a win here. And then either Tapir or Lamas could be a big opportunity for the winner of that one as well. This again going to be another one close. All these just seem like there's going to be such close games, and then half of them don't end up turning out to be 9. It's kind of funny. I'm gonna go with might be a heater a little bit. I'm gonna go with Ard and 9. Just the momentum I've seen from him. The only thing I can think of is the fact that neither of them have really been too battle tested. You know, Nam with the gentleman sweep round 1, Ard with the sweep. Both of them 1 and 6 to get here in upset fashion. Nam's gonna be sweating. I don't know if he'll make it with what he's got if he doesn't get this. So he's gonna need it, but I think Ard's gonna have the edge in 9. I just think the momentum is huge for him.
This is going to be a tight one. I think the CPU had this 50-50. I think really where I'm going to lean in with this one, I'm going to go Nam in 8. And I think the thing that with this one is I think Ard going with the character scares me because that usually backfires most of the time for him. So the fact that he's doing it now after the Toasty win has me a little concerned. Might be a little bit out of sorts, but again with Nam, we've seen him be able to find his way in these situations to get out of it, especially when he's more going with the pessimistic mindset. Round of 16 has been a bit of a tough cookie for him this season, but I don't know. This is a tough toss up here. I could see either of them winning, but I'm leaning Nam. I'm going to say 5-3. I don't think it goes 9, not because it's not a game 9 sort of thing, but I just think something happens that causes it to not go 9. But Nom 5-3, and I think the character kind of blows up in Ard because he usually doesn't do well when it comes to the making up the characters for the league.
Well, we'll see how he does. We'll move to the 3 versus 7, the second semifinal in Zombie, and it's going to be between Tapir and Lamas. Tapir going 5-4 according to the CPU, and it's the toss up because I'm a big supporter of the drives, but I'm I'm a big supporter of both these guys. I think both of them have a
Are you a supporter of the Drives or the Panthers? That's the question.
oh. Well, if you put it that way, the drives. No disrespect. I don't need the dynasty, man. I don't need no Yeah, look, like Llamas ain't on a dynasty run like Panthers, but I mean, he needs
Kind of.
all the wins he can get. He's squarely on the bubble. Tapir's in good position. I think this win would pretty much cement him, provided not the entire bubble doesn't burst up. They all move up, but a lot of them have fallen. But I think I'm gonna agree with the CPU, but I can definitely see Llamas taking it the other way to 9, maybe even 8. But I'm gonna take Tapir 9.
I'm gonna go with Tier 9. Well, I think he's going into this one feeling he needs to win this. This is kind of gonna be jumping in with maybe a similar mindset, but I think with Tapir, he's gonna want to keep driving it as far as he can, and I think with his season, that's gonna be his best bet. Looking at the where this will go, this is actually gonna be the first match of the round, which is kicking off the third on the 13th at 10 a.m. So this will
Yeah,
open the roundup.
yeah.
We'll see. We'll
And
see how that goes.
Tapir
That
looking
could
for a
set,
100th win as well in that game.
that
Or
too. Yeah,
no,
we'll have to
100th.
keep that in
No, he
mind.
already
But
got that. He already got that. But he's gonna.
uh,
He already got that
mhm.
last round, I should say. But KT is gonna be present KT's gonna be there with Seth Cole for that one, to make up for the fact not being there for the 100th, which he got in the series against Coach. But yeah. So we're all going to Pier 9, and that's your zombie region. Now we go to the nuclear region, and our first game between Acosta and Lara, 5 versus 8. Acosta 5-4 by the CPU. This is another crazy toss-up game that I just cannot take heads or tails of. I might as well flip a coin. Lara taking down the number 1 player, Acosta taking on a one-time champion in a 2-year-old rematch. It's just there's so much momentum across the board for both these guys. I really just don't know what's going to be the deciding factor, because I think they can both kind of play pace management. Obviously, Acosta's going to go that direction. We've seen it before, and it's just so hard to pick. But I think I have to go with Acosta. I'm going to take it in 9, but God, it's just such a close one to pick. What do you got?
I got Lara 5-3. I'm feeling pretty confident in this one. Lara has just kind of been on a run this season, and they're just kind of getting these wins when they need them. This is another opportunity for to get the big win. Acosta has been on a good run here so far, but so Acosta, I think one of the difficult things for him is when he's playing as not the underdog. Most of his success usually is found when he is the lower seed, but this one he's going to be the home side, so that might be a bit of a crumble to throw into the mix for him. And I think for Lara just going to be able to roll and get the job done while still keeping things alive with their season. So I don't know. I got a good feeling this one. Lara 5-3. I'm gonna lock that one in.
Lock that one in. And then on to this game, it's Brad and DJ, 3 versus 10. Both coming off 7-game wins over 2 strong players, DJ over Caesar, Brad over Sanford. CPU going Brad 5-3. I no disrespect to DJ, but I just feel like this might be the most decisive one I can pick. I'm gonna pick Brad in 7. I I don't see for DJ. He's had some, like, the Caesar one was impressive, but I just don't know if he can put it together against Brad. And I know Brad's gonna be continuing to push. He needs that win. Unfortunately, fell short in T2 and in T3, looking to try and really or no, he fell short in T3, I should say, of another gold, trying to defend his own crown. And I know he wants to try and really get in, really push his way in the BKK. And I think Brad's gonna do it in 7. Sorry, DJ. I just think Brad's got too much on his mind to let this one go.
I'm gonna say Brad in 7 in this one also. Brad just always finds a way to escape as kind of be an escape artist. I think this one he's just kind of gonna burst onto the scene and move out with it. It also does not want to put that reverse sweep to waste. I think Curtis, I think with this run has been good for a morale booster, but I think this is gonna be a bit of a tough one to go through. So I'm gonna agree with you, short. I'm gonna go with Brad in 7, 5-2. This is a good run for Curtis to tip his hat on for this season. It hasn't been great, but I don't know. I just think Brad's going to be really motivated to try to get to the regional finals and do what he can to boost his resume.
Absolutely, and I mean, have a good op. It wouldn't. He would definitely have a good opportunity. Wouldn't be quite quad 1, whoever comes out of that Castellera game, but definitely would be a solid one for the resume, for sure. Well, that just about does it for this edition of the Wildcard Podcast, episode 17 of season 2 here in 2025. I'd like to thank the boss KT for letting me sit in his chair this time. I sat in G's chair a few times. I was sitting in his chair. It's quite interesting. I think we'll probably try and be back again after this Swarm 16 to break it all down, and as well as break down the championship in D2. Should be interesting to talk about. Gee, appreciate the time as always. 5 hours of recording is over.
It's been a long day.
We started at 9 a.m. I'm talking Central. 9 a.m. It's just gone 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm done. But thanks everyone for watching. Make sure to subscribe here on YouTube. Make sure to join us for our next episode. We hope to bring you our next episode following this round of the Swarm 16. And we'll also talk some D2 Championship. For G and myself, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next edition of the Wildcard Podcast. Enjoy this crazy playoff round in the Swarm 16. Take care, everyone.